Hello and welcome to the Indian Writers Forum and NewsClick. Joining us today is the eminent author Nayantara Sahgal. Nayantara Sahgal needs no introduction. Today she's joining us to talk about her latest novella, The Fate of Butterflies, which has been published by Speaking Tiger. We will be discussing some of the things that Nayantara has addressed in this book. Hello and welcome, Nayantara.
Thank you.
Nayantara, this novel, it's a work of fiction, and it contextualizes a lot of problems that we are facing in the world that we are living in today. Could you take us through some of the things that the novel talks about?
Well, as it's a short novel, it's a novella, so I wouldn't like to talk about too many of the things because I would prefer that readers read the book themselves. But as you said, it is a book about the times that we're living in, and also not only in India but all over the world. It's a time which has been called post-truth, and where apparently facts, data and truth have no place. And so for the first time in history we are living in such a time. All my novels have been about the times we're in, and all the previous novels I have thought of as the making of modern India. But this novella and the one previous, which was published about a year ago, are about the unmaking of modern India. And in that context, I have talked about or written about what is going on, how the people involved in the story are responding to these events. And it becomes a picture of India today.
As you say that it's also a picture of the India today, but that the novella is set in India, but it has a very strong global context to it. How do you see what is happening in India versus the global context of things?
Well, as I said, we are living in an international time where what is happening in India is happening globally. And it's a time of a kind of crossroads for us in India, because this situation is new to us. Political situations like Nazism, fascism, right-wing politics in other countries have happened over the years. It has never happened here. So for us it is a very crucial situation, a first time for independent India, because we have prided ourselves on setting up at independence a secular democratic republic, and that is under threat today. So that is why I say we are at a crossroads.
I also had one more question about a character in your book, Katerina. Can you talk a little about her significance? What, according to you, is her significance?
You see, she is a woman who has been gang raped. Now, that is a phenomenon that is happening to many women in our country, particularly in the last 4 years, where this kind of horror is being visited on Muslim women, just as Muslim men are being killed on false charges that they are carrying beef, which is not true, and fake charges of that kind. Now, rape is probably the most hideous crime that can be committed on a woman. And then the stigma attaches to the woman. Her family don't accept her, society doesn't accept her, she doesn't accept herself because she is so, her whole life has changed, you know, she can't live a normal life after that. She feels she cannot have the respect of anybody after that. So Katerina in the book is an example of a woman who has been raped and who has decided, along with two other women friends of hers who have been raped, gang raped, that they will not hide the fact, they will speak about it and they will show their injuries. They won't cover them up. Let their injuries be seen by the public so that the public knows what they have gone through. And then, of course, Prabhakar falls in love with her and he tries to convince her that there is a life after rape, that, you know, you can live a normal life and so on, because, of course, rape has left her so defenseless and so frightened of being touched. But he gets her over that horrible period of that she's been through of torture and rape.
As a public figure, you have been extremely vocal about the problems that we are facing today. But how do you see this role of the writer having, or the role of the artist having changed in the last 5 years, which has been the strongest in unmaking of India, as you termed it?
Well, writers respond to the times. All artists, all creative artists do. And if times change, well, they change, their writing changes. It has happened in Latin America, in the Soviet Union, even under the dictatorship. Great writers like Brodsky, the poet, Solzhenitsyn, were thrown into jail, and Solzhenitsyn for many years was in exile in Siberia. And both of them were told that you are not writers, you know, what are you writing about? Brodsky was told, do you call this a poem? It has nothing material to add to the Soviet Union. So it's not a poem. And Brodsky, of course, goes on to win the Nobel Prize, and so does Solzhenitsyn. So writers keep responding to what is happening around them. And in our time, what I'm seeing is that writers have stood up for what they believe is right through their writing. You know, people like Murugan, non-fiction writers like Gauri Lankesh, and of course Kalburgi, Pansare, who were killed, so was Gauri. And the state's reaction to them has been to threaten them, harass them, and kill them. So their writing and whatever they are concentrating on, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, it becomes a form of political activism. All art is a form of political activism. That's why dictators are so afraid of it.
Increase in the attack on freedom of expression over the last 5 years, and recently as with Amol Palekar, and then sometime before that with you, when Akhil Bharatiya Marathi Sahitya Sammelan rescinded their offer, their invitation to you. And how do you also see this organizers giving in to the pressure that is being put on them by fringe right-wing groups?
Well, I've discovered, it has become clear that the Sammelan was funded to a large extent by the Maharashtra government, and there was definitely a an order from them that they would, I suppose, refuse to grant funds unless they could have the right to tell them to withdraw an invitation to someone whose views they didn't approve. That's what happened in this case. But the remarkable thing about this case is the support that the Marathi writers gave to me on a huge scale. My speech at the Sammelan was not allowed to be read, but it has been read in many towns of Maharashtra, so that thousands more people have heard it than would have heard at the Sammelan. And the writers themselves, many of them boycotted the Sammelan. Some of them attended it and condemned the cancellation of the invitation. Some women came wearing my masks. So there was so much support, and I was so proud of them, you know, because they were not only standing up for me, they were standing up for the freedom of expression. And then there was a huge function in Bombay, which they organized to show their support. I spoke there, and there were many actors, writers present. T.M. Krishna was also there. He sang. And in fact, it has become a status symbol now to be banned. Because all my good friends are being banned. Ramchandra Guha, Gopal Krishan Gandhi, Krishna, whose concert was cancelled, and of course now Amul Palekar.
Yes, recently.
So it's a growing number, and we are very pleased to be in each other's company and to be banned.
Do you have anything to say to the young, upcoming, aspiring writers and readers?
It's no use telling readers anything, because readers will obviously choose what they like to read. You know, everybody's tastes are different, and that's a very good thing. Let us never all be alike. That is what this government is trying to make us. So let them have their different views. Young, old, you know, people have different tastes. Also, we read different books at different times. I mean, I know that if I'm very stressed and I want to relax after a hard day, I read detective fiction. You know, it's a great escape. And otherwise, I read a lot of political fiction, like John le Carré and Graham Greene and so many other wonderful writers, Marquez, and so on. So one cannot give advice to readers. One can only say, here's my book. I hope you'll read it and enjoy it. For writers, I have always felt that we should be in touch with our times. Of course, writers are. I mean, they're writing maybe not about today, maybe they're writing about 4 centuries ago, but from the point of view of their own times. In this book, I have written about things which have happened in the past, but which are relating to our present situation. I mean, I brought in Martin Luther King, I brought in Mahatma Gandhi, and as you've read the book, so you know how many references of that kind relate to what we are going through. And above all, my advice to writers is that because we are living in a time when we are told to shut up, we have to go on writing.
So that would be a role of a writer in today's time.
We must go on speaking. Nobody, no state, no mob can give us orders about what to write or not to write.
Thank you for joining us, Nayantara, and thanks for watching.